Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely high-stakes story of international justice. We are breaking down the mechanics of a massive global crackdown, specifically the dismantling of the notorious Kinahan cartel. We're going to look at the architecture of this sprawling criminal empire and the truly unprecedented law enforcement coordination it took to bring it down.
So, is any crime boss truly untouchable? For decades, history has painted certain underworld figures as Teflon, operating entirely above the law, completely shielded by wealth, borders, and just sheer fear. But recent events in the global justice system, they are completely rewriting that narrative. We're seeing a profound shift right now in how international law enforcement operates, proving that no matter how insulated a criminal network believes it is, the reach of the law is getting much longer and much, much stronger.
24. That is the staggering number of years senior operative Sean McGovern was just sentenced to serve in an Irish court. And listen, this isn't just some random statistic. It's literally one of the biggest organized crime stories unfolding right now. McGovern wasn't just some low-level street player, right? He was a highly trusted senior figure directly linked to the Kinahan organized crime network. A 24-year sentence sends an absolute shockwave through an organization like that. It's a massive, massive victory for international authorities.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The fall of an operative.
To really grasp the weight of that 24-year sentence, we have to look at the gritty reality of McGovern's specific offenses. He actually admitted involvement in murder and attempted murder. So we're not talking about white-collar crime or petty theft here. Authorities recognized him as a trusted operative, deeply, deeply embedded within a massive, violent international organization. When someone at this high level of trust finally faces the music for the most severe crimes imaginable, it means the protective walls of the syndicate are severely fracturing. The authorities aren't just skimming the surface anymore. They are successfully targeting the dangerous operational core of the whole group.
Let's zoom out a bit. Part 2, Inside the Kinahan cartel.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer corporate-level scale of the Kinahan syndicate's operations. We are talking about international drug trafficking, highly sophisticated money laundering, and violent organized crime. This is exactly why this story is making such global waves. The network operates essentially like a dark multinational corporation. They aren't just confined to one city or one illicit trade. They've diversified their criminal enterprise across multiple borders and complex financial systems. Taking down an operation with this kind of extensive, terrifying portfolio, it's like solving a giant, lethal puzzle.
And to visualize how that puzzle is actually being solved, you just have to look at how the hierarchy is crumbling in real time. On one hand, you have Sean McGovern, the senior operative, now facing 24 years in Ireland. But the story goes all the way up to the absolute top of the pyramid. Earlier this year, the alleged cartel leader himself, Daniel Kinahan, was arrested in Dubai. By contrasting the fates of these two figures, you can clearly see the underlying strategy of international law enforcement. They are literally squeezing the network from the operational level right up to the executive leadership. It powerfully demonstrates that absolutely no level of leadership within this syndicate is safe anymore. From Ireland all the way to the United Arab Emirates, there's just nowhere left to hide.
Which brings us to Part 3, the global manhunt. Let's see how this all builds, because a victory of this magnitude, it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It requires an agonizing amount of patience, massive intelligence sharing, and truly unprecedented cross-border cooperation. It started with years, literally years, of an international manhunt and multi-country targeting. That meticulous foundation is what led to the massive breakthrough earlier this year with Daniel Kinahan's arrest in Dubai. And that momentum carried straight forward to the present moment, marked by McGovern's severe 24-year sentence. And crucially, you guys, this is still ongoing. The pressure hasn't stopped. These global police operations continue to push forward relentlessly. International police are continuously targeting these drug smuggling and money laundering networks across Europe, the Middle East, and Latin America. Just pause and think about the geographic spread of those three regions for a second. It perfectly anchors just how staggering and intercontinental the footprint of this cartel truly is. To dismantle something like this requires law enforcement agencies from multiple countries speaking totally different languages and operating under entirely different legal systems to somehow work together as a single unified force. It's wild. And finally, Part 4, a warning to the underworld. We really need to talk about exactly why this matters to global security. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about one cartel. It's about a massive precedent being set. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. As officials stated, this conviction demonstrates that senior organized crime leaders can still be tracked down and prosecuted. That is the ultimate takeaway here.
This official law enforcement stance is cementing the idea that the era of the untouchable global kingpin, it's over. If you run a multinational criminal syndicate, the message is crystal clear. No matter how much money you launder, no matter what jurisdiction you flee to, dedicated international task forces have the tools, the patience, and the reach to hold you accountable. So, the crucial point is that this operation is far from over. The Kinahan cartel is actively being dismantled, sure, but they aren't the only network out there. The blueprint for international law enforcement cooperation has been drawn up, tested, and proven to be incredibly successful. The unstoppable nature of these global operations means more dominoes are absolutely bound to fall. So the real question is, where will the international police dragnet strike next? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the headlines, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.